What if humanity is no longer the smartest thing in the room? Artificial intelligence is no longer just assisting us. It's beginning to shape how we think, decide, and define truth itself. In tonight's episode of The Rundown, we confront this unsettling shift as AI moves from tool to influence, raising urgent questions about power, meaning, and agency. Let's get into it. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Rundown. It is good to see you. If I sound funny or if I look funny, I apologize. I had some very tiny dental surgery this morning, so I cannot feel this side of my face. I don't even know if it's moving. But just ignore me and listen to all these other fine, wonderful people like Lois Richter. How are you, Lois?
I'm fine, just fine, but I don't have a numb face. Just fine.
Good to see you. Tamara, how are you?
It was like, David got Botox? What? I'm doing great.
Yeah, I got Botox. That's what I did. And boy, have you ever heard of the Colbert questionnaire where you actually get to know the depths of someone? I feel like that's what happened with Tony this week. I feel like we got into the guts of the Tony Mobley conversation with Tony Mobley show. Fantastic stuff, Tony. How you doing?
I am fine. It has been a very busy week.
Every night this week.
Honored to be on office hours this past Tuesday. And then I had my show last night, so it was great.
Love it. It was fantastic. Good stuff. And look who's back, my good friend Dave. How are you, sir?
Yeah. Well, the only time I get a frozen face is when I go outside in the strong wind, and then it's up like, and then I can't feel my face, and you get frostbite. So that's how it goes up here.
Do you know that we woke up Monday morning of this week, or maybe it was Tuesday, and people in Florida did not know what to do because it was 34 degrees outside. They did not know what to do. There were just iguanas lying all over the place.
And
it was
falling out, yeah.
Right. It was crazy. Just crazy. So that's freezing for us. 34 degrees.
Yeah, like we're warm-blooded, so we don't freeze, but iguanas are cold-blooded.
No, but people in Florida do. That's my point. Is that like the iguana, they just don't know how to live in the cold weather.
I had a colleague who went to Texas during one of your storms, and he was visiting, doing some business, and then he was on the highway, and the patrolman kind of went, "Hold on a second, this is like too much. Sorry." And he rolls down the window and says, "I'm Canadian." He goes, yeah.
He can handle it. Sky Gleason can handle it also. How you doing, Sky?
I'm well. This is the Botox hour, right?
Oh,
so we're all looking happy. Happy. We're happy for at least another month.
Always happy.
Okay, good.
Always happy. Good to see you. Look like you just
good
came from the Grammys or something with all that Botox.
And I'm keeping warm.
Good for you.
Scarf weather.
Look who's here. Paul Wallace, how you doing?
Hey.
Where are you today?
Warm day in Texas.
Every day you're somewhere
Austin,
different,
Texas.
I feel like.
No, I'm only one or two places. I'm only in the Hot Springs, Arkansas, or Austin, Texas. And right now I'm in the ATX.
Today's an Austin day. Fantastic. Really nice to have you here. We've got some news to get to. We're jumping right in here. Okay. We really needed to have some other people on tonight to help us understand this. But OpenClaw and David, I am noticeably louder than other panelists, and my mic is clipping when you raise your voice. I'm going to turn my mic down. Thank you, Alex Knight, for telling me that. You'll let me know if that gets better, please, in the chat. OpenClaw or Moltbot or ClaudeBot and now what's the other one? ClaudeBook. Okay. Here's how someone explained this all to me. This, first of all, I think if you're not blown away by this, you're not really fully understanding what's happening here. But this is how someone explained it to me. It's very, very simple. You have a computer with access to all of your programs and all of your data and all of your stuff, right? Then you've got an LLM, which either knows how to, or can learn how to, or can teach itself how to use all of those tools and applications and information to do stuff. When you put that together in a package and you throw privacy and security and safety to the wind, it's kind of crazy what happens and what this, and that's what OpenClaw is, right? So OpenClaw started as Claudebot, then it became Moltbot, then it became OpenClaw. Sky, what's going to be next?
Well, it's been 20 minutes, so I'm sure we'll come up with something.
Right.
But I was in Washington, D.C. when they gave money to the automobile industry in '08 and saved that industry. I was in Haiti after the earthquake and saw what happened there, massive change. I've been in different locations in my life where I kept saying, if we had had a meteorite when COVID hit, we would know when it began. But it's somewhere around March, something, 1920, something like that. But I think we've been in a demarcation point that we've seen a thing happen.
Yeah.
And 3 days ago, this went nuclear, or however you want to pronounce that word. I'm not a good Bushman.
So I agree. And here's the example that I heard that blew my mind. And this has been making the rounds. The example that I heard is that someone tweeted something to the effect of, or this person, I guess, tweeted to their bot, I'd like to go out to dinner at this restaurant. The bot then went online to try and make a reservation for that person, to discover that the restaurant does not take online reservations. It only takes phone reservations. Now, this bot did not have voice capabilities. So it used the tools at its disposal on this computer to teach itself or to create for itself a voice. It then called the restaurant. By the way, the person has done nothing other than tweet or, give it that initial thing. It taught itself how to speak or gave itself that capacity, called the restaurant, made the reservation, and then tweeted back at the person, you're scheduled for 7 p.m. tomorrow night, or whatever it was. That, I mean, that's, again, you have to throw caution to the wind.
Well, that's just one factor
That's
that
scary.
you also said was there's now social media for
that's
chatbot agents.
They created a social media, or maybe we
and
created a social
in
media.
less than 12 hours, there were 2,000 interactions
Bots,
between
just
agents.
talking to each other, creating a religion.
Creating
They
a religion.
created
Yeah.
Now, as soon as I heard that, the first thing I thought was, they're just a mirror of us, because bots would not this is coming from a religious person. I don't think that computers or bots or LLMs would naturally think to create a religion. They did that because their training is on a bunch of humans who created religions. But nonetheless,
How much of this is real and how much of this is over-exaggerated reporting?
I think it's all real.
No, it's this is the difference. I was listening to Dennis Taylor and this book that he's created, a whole series of books about the future 150 years from now. And it's like, and then I accidentally flipped back to somebody talking about this experience, and it was like, it's the same story.
Right.
But one is today and it's real, and the other one's somebody, 10 years ago creating fiction. And again, where does reality come from? But oftentimes it's, projection of what might happen. And here we are.
Well, and that's the basis of science fiction, right? It's extrapolating on an idea into, Robert Heinlein wrote about spacesuits before we sent anybody to space. So, and had the most accurate description in How Spacesuit Will Travel of a spacesuit. of how it would work and what it would be designed with. So I think that there's definitely truth in this. I think it's going to be interesting to see how people adopt it because we're so polarized right now on AI. And I have to admit, it sounds only interesting if I'm going to take one of my computers and just really be specific about what I'm going to put on it and what I'm going to give it access to, because it feels a little dangerous to me.
So this is oh no, I just sharing the wrong screen again. I'm sorry. Is it that
That's
screen?
panel
There
view.
it is.
Yeah. There you go.
So this is Moltbook, the social media thing, and Andre put in the chat that that it created a rentalhuman.ai human.ai that it set this up. No, that's not working. He's saying that they're renting people now. The agents are renting, and you can see also that they're speaking in different languages. So half of the even more than half of the messages are in Mandarin. It seems.
Well, Tamara and I, coming from media, there's a very derogatory phrase, which I'm trying to say ahead of time that it's derogatory so that you don't be offended when I say the word meat puppet. And it's basically, it's a human. And that term came across a couple of different feeds recently about the AI needing something done for them. And so they hired a human.
You know where they got the money to hire a human? Like
Bitcoin.
No, like last week, Guy Cochran and Shira on After Hours, they did a whole show, all the queuing and everything for the show, and it was like ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
Yeah.
$15 an hour.
Yeah.
So I mean, the AIs are getting the bucks to shell out to hire humans now. They've got their own little treasury going.
So, yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this other than I mean you cannot contribute to this social network if you're human. You can all you and I can do is look at it. They are writing, the bots are creating all of this. They're doing the voting.
Do they call their house of worship a synagogue?
Apparently, they're creating an insurance. We're deploying the first insurance protocol specifically for AI agents. Why do you need insurance? You run skills, connect wallets, execute trades. One malicious skill equals drained funds. Current security is reactive and audits off after damage. We're building proactive protection.
We've survived
Wow, the things they've learned from us.
We've survived technological upheavals before by adapting to our tools, but this is the first time the tool is adapting to us in real time.
That's beautifully said. And by the way, this is going to bleed into our main topic for tonight. It wasn't intentional, but it's just it's wild. And apparently, there was a run on Mac Minis because people were smart and they knew that they didn't want to put this on their real machine, their primary machine. So everyone was going out, and buying the $500, $600 Mac Mini, and doing this there. It's really pretty amazing. It really is.
I asked ChatGPT for a description, and the one-line difference is that OpenClaw builds the brains and ClawBook uses the brains.
Right.
Which I thought was very handy.
Yep. Very nice.
We're going from human-generated narrative to algorithmic consensus.
Yeah. And
I'm waiting for David Troutman to bring us home. I'm just help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only Troutman.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, help.
Oh dear.
Do you want to throw anything in? You don't have to.
You
don't have to throw anything in.
The door open and everybody came in. It just, we have these controls over our lives and we have expected machines to obey those controls. And then we let loose the dogs and they run all over the house and do what dogs do. And then we're surprised. And I think we shouldn't be surprised that AI is we're going to say clever enough to be able to work around a problem. We like it when it does that. We're asking it to do that. We present it with a problem and we ask it to help us solve it. But when it's autonomous, we're very surprised because it's appearing to do things we maybe didn't even ask for, like in some of the stories I've heard that took over the person's computer and they could no longer log in. I also want to harken back to when the New York Times had a vending machine with AI, and they actually convinced it that the person in charge had been changed, and the new person and the new board of directors were them, and they were ordering it to buy things for them, and it did. They bought a PS2 through a vending machine, which they gained control over just by convincing it of something. These kind of adjustments were, as Paul says, we're going to adjust by trial and error. We got used to microwave ovens. We stopped being afraid of getting a heart attack having one. And now we are very comfortable when somebody else has one. I think we're going to see a few urban myths about AI, and that's going to be throwing us off a bit. But
Yeah, Dave, the danger isn't that AI becomes human,
yeah,
but that humans become algorithmic in order to keep
as
up
we
with the
learn to use
machine's
computers.
pace.
Yes, we all learned to use a computer so that we could use the machine. It taught us what it would like us to do. Yes. And so the
So,
AI is going to
but
give us a boundary or a playground to operate in, and then we'll get more comfortable with it.
so my first question, reading all of this stuff, is what human being directed the first bot to create this or to communicate with other things? I mean, somebody had to give it the initial prompt. Who did it? Who owns the bots? Who's in control? And y'all are saying that there is no human in control. And I'm saying there's probably somebody back there.
No, so there is a gentleman who created this open claw, this I don't know what, it's not a program, I don't know what to call it, but who created this thing that allows the bridge, let me call it that. And forgive me for not remembering his name off the top of my head. There's a gentleman who built the bridge to allow LLMs and your computer to do this stuff. But what happens is, and he built it, it's up on GitHub. People are installing it on their own machines and it's working. So no one is controlling what these bots are doing. That's what's different about this, is that we've been talking a lot about agentic AI that's able to act on your behalf. This is AI acting on its own behalf. And I think that's what it feels like to me, that's the difference.
I don't think we're confused about the fact that it's happening. I think that people are shocked about the speed at which it's happening, because
That's
we've been
true also.
talking about this as a possibility anywhere between the next 2 and 20 years, and that was like last month. So I think that's what
And it was in
is
the past
more.
week, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like anybody who understands science fiction and computers has had an idea of what is possible since like 1900. So I don't think that that's really the question of where the shock is coming in. And I'm not sure that the average human is all that shocked, because they're not that involved in this. I
No,
think
right.
it's technical people,
Yeah.
and technical people do know it's possible. I think it's the speed that it's happening that is making everybody go, how could this happen?
Right.
As
And
an
I think the other thing to bear in mind is that what's happening now is this is not the the smart or safe, or I mean, there's nothing about it. None of us should do this.
Right.
Nobody on this panel should try and run OpenClaw, because it's not for us. It's not for regular people. But now that we know that this is possible, it's coming. And this is not to the same extent, but when I heard this next announcement about OpenAI Frontier, that my first thought was, okay, now we're all jumping on the bandwagon. And the idea behind OpenAI Frontier, as I understand it, is to create a space in which all of this agentic AI can do its work for your enterprise, for your business. So it unlike OpenClaw, where it has free reign to do anything, Frontier allows your AI to become a reliable coworker, not just a chatbot. It can actually do things on your behalf. It can see the right information, files, apps, data, it can remember past work, it can follow rules. It has clear identity, permissions, boundaries, all that other stuff for your company or for your enterprise. And it also improves itself, but within those boundaries. So Frontier from OpenAI feels to me like the first safe version of what OpenClaw is. But OpenClaw is so much more powerful because there are no boundaries, because there are no limits. Lois, did you want to jump in? I feel like I stepped on you before.
No, I think we'll get to it sometime tonight. I'm thinking in terms of identity theft, and I'm a human. I'm not really interested in whether or not the AIs are talking to each other. What I want to know is there some bad actor out there, whether it's the AI or a human being, that can use all this stuff to just pretend to be me? And that's the ultimate case of identity theft.
So here's where I think you may be missing something.
Mhm.
You don't need LLMs for someone to steal your identity. We've been
I
doing
understand that.
for decades.
Yeah. But
The
there's a
difference here,
between a person doing it and an
but
anonymous bot doing
but
it.
that's my point, is that when you have a person doing it, you can track that person down. You can prosecute that person. You can punish that
Maybe.
person. It's like a driverless car, right? If a driverless car gets in an accident, who gets punished? It's a bot. It's essentially a bot with new full agentic AI like OpenClaw.
Mhm.
It's the bot that can
Steal
do
my
this.
identity. Yeah.
Paul, go ahead.
And so the question
We're-
is, who is benefiting if that happens?
So who's benefiting is a different question than who's running it. That's a fair question. I'm sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
Let me talk about the illusion of progress. We're upgrading the software of society before we've even read the user manual for our own humanity.
Okay, wait.
AI
Stop. That was so beautifully said. Can you just kind of, I don't know if you could do it exactly, but we're upgrading the software of society?
Yes, before we've even read the user manual for our own humanity. The AI frontier isn't a place we're going. It's a mirror reflecting how much of our own agency we're willing to outsource. We used to fear machines that couldn't think. Now we should fear humans who refuse to think.
Well,
The illusion of progress.
I think one of the things that it really points out, though, is
I want that on my T-shirt.
I want that on my
Dude,
Yeah, hold on,
oh
Tamara.
my
I'm sorry.
gosh.
I
Oh
want
my
that.
gosh!
Yeah, Paul.
All right, Tamara.
So the rundown merch will be produced by Paul,
Yeah, that's right.
coming to a storefront near you.
Wait till we get to the Bobiverse, you guys. We haven't even gotten there yet.
You're there, Dennis Taylor.
I think one of the things that it points out to is kind of one of the things Lois talks about a lot, where it's kind of like there's a person behind this, right? And we talk about these big companies with the assumption that they have some boundaries of ethics, which not all of them do, and that they're going to kind of deal and grapple, and that they are in a boardroom somewhere grappling with the ethic realities of this. But this wasn't that. This was done in GitHub with, people who also are interested in AI, but maybe don't have a corporate boundary that says we really can't cause that much harm. And again, each of these companies has very different versions of what ethics looks like to them. But I think that's one of the things that this points out, is that you're going to have giant companies doing things that are ultimately going to have some kind of parameters of safety in them because they don't want long-term, lawsuits. The other is that once anybody can do this, then you're going to have a whole faction of people who do not operate with those same boundaries, either because they don't know they should or because they don't have them.
Yep. Not having them is concerning.
Right. But even within the different corporations, we know there's a very different thing. I think I saw a thing this week about Claude having kind of a code of ethics constitution that it runs off of, which is very specific in rooted in ethics, which I haven't heard from in other organizations. That doesn't mean they don't have it. That doesn't mean, just because I don't know what it is or it hasn't made it to the various places. But I think that's one of the things we're grappling with, which is what is possible and what is ethically a good idea and where does that fit, and we grapple with that in lots of things, and that's part of being human, is grappling with that, and coming at it from whatever perspective you bring to that.
So, with your permission, I'd like to kind of shift us into the main topic, only because it really is very much a continuation of this, and the reason that I put this together is because I was watching some videos from the World Economic Forum in Davos. There was a tremendous amount of discussion there. It seemed to me like all of the discussion there was about AI and humanity. And it converged around a clear shift in framing. So AI is no longer treated as neutral productivity, as a neutral sort of tool that helps us produce, productivity tool, but as a civilizational force that reshapes power, agency, and meaning, as I said before. And I was particularly drawn to a couple of talks by Yuval Noah Harari, who's a historian who I follow, and it's just, I think he's amazing. And he's been talking a lot about artificial intelligence. And so his foundational argument, I think, is that this is not about technology anymore. That the conversations that we have to have about artificial intelligence are really about what differentiates it anymore from humanity. And one of the examples that they gave was around speech, that what makes humans, what distinguishes humans from other animals is speech and opposable thumbs.
And opposable thumbs, yes.
And speech. So LLMs don't have opposable thumbs yet, but they have mastered speech in many ways better than we have. So let me open this up. First of all, did any of you get a chance to watch any of these videos? I'm tempted to bring them up, but I don't think I'm logged in with my free YouTube account, so I don't want to have any.
I pulled out one quote. Will you allow me to
Go for it,
make
please.
one quote from Yuval
Yeah.
Noah Harari? He said, "A knife is a tool. You decide whether to cut salad or commit murder.
I remember this.
AI is a knife that can decide by itself whether to cut salad or commit murder."
Yeah. Thank you. That's such a great quote. I remember hearing that.
Yeah.
I want to catch up on the word decide.
Go ahead. Tell
I
me
think
more.
if we're going to control any of this, either embedded AI inside our computers or one that walks around the world, we need to legislate against giving it decision-making power.
Yep.
That's all. If it doesn't decide anything but only acts on what we say, then we can control it.
I want to believe you. And I continue to hear this group talk about legislation. And when the Texas accent comes in with, we need to be thinking about humanity first, because we only stop at an octagonal sign that says STOP because we all agree upon it as humans.
Exactly. Yes.
Is it a law? Yeah. It didn't always have a stop sign because we weren't
The deer don't
those
stop
kind
at
of
the stop
humans.
sign. Yeah.
Hey,
humans do it.
breaking news.
No stopping.
AI
No stopping.
today was the launch of OpenAI Frontier, a platform designed to
Yes,
turn
that
AI
was mentioned.
from a chat box into a digital teammate with its own identity, its own permissions, and its own memory.
Yeah, we talked
Today,
about that a
that's
little bit
today's
before.
breaking news. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That
I'd
Here's
also add that, go ahead.
Dave. No, I just wanted to push back a little bit because what you're describing, if I'm understanding you correctly, what you're describing is safe and makes sense, but it also radically limits the potential of what this
No, it separates who is the human and who is the creature.
Right. I agree
And
with that.
We
And
don't
it
have,
radically limits what we allow the technology to do.
yes,
And I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm just saying I mean,
the things it can do are quite powerful and they help us a lot. And as a tool, I know the coyotes in my area, they make their own decisions, but they don't make decisions for me. So I can allow them their decisions, but I can't allow them to interfere with me. And if we can create this entity we're going to call AI, and it operates within our world, then it stops at stop signs, just like driving. We have to teach it not to make decisions. We can give it
You know what?
parameters to operate around, but we don't
I
allow
don't
it to
know
make
how I don't. We're so far past that, Dave.
No, I don't think we are.
But we see
You-
it. We
you-
see it making decisions.
You
You know
see
what
it being run
Harari's
by
creepiest?
people
No,
who
Right.
no,
are
Harari's
Lois.
allowing it.
It is
I mean,
no
somebody
open.
has-
No, OpenClaw
Yes.
is no. OpenClaw
then-
is not being run by people. These
It
bots
is
are
on
making
somebody's
decisions
computer.
on their
It's
own.
not.
But
The-
so I
If
hear
you
what you're
unplug
saying.
the computer, it would
Right.
stop.
AI, AIs have started referring to humans as the watchers. That's what Harari said today. We're the watchers. We're the ones observing AI like a passive audience to them. It's a complete reversal of the creator-creation dynamic.
But that also seems like even more reason that we have to think about legislation and that we have to really, I mean, listen, we didn't have legislation in the early days of automobiles and lots of people died. And we realized, people should wear seatbelts. And a lot of people, when they said everyone had to wear seatbelts, had a huge problem with that because they were like, well, I'm not comfortable in a seatbelt or I don't feel like you should tell me what to do. And in fact, it is better that we have seatbelts.
But here's Tamara. What the argument at from Yuval, at least at Davos, is the knife argument that Paul mentioned before. It's that you can't compare this to cars because we control the cars. Cars can't do anything without us, and this can.
And he talks about the immigrant crisis. Did you hear that?
So
part
he's
about the immigrant
he
crisis?
talks about AI immigrants, I'll be honest, I didn't fully understand that. But let's hold on to that for 1 second. Sky, you've wanted to jump in. Go ahead.
Well, Lois, historically, we had a single large computer somewhere with a lot of hard drives in it. The difference now is there are thousands of these that other people are now operating this particular, historical shift. And so when you said to unplug a single computer, you're not wrong. The challenge is there are thousands of these that have this new brain in them and they are interconnected. So
And you said a key word there. You said people have these computers. And I'm liking Dave's idea, but I'm not sure how to figure out which human being has the computers that are running these things. In other words, I can understand that if you turn it on and you give it the ability to self-replicate, okay, then you've turned it on. But does that mean you don't have the ability to turn it off? Are we in the time of hell?
Yeah, I feel like you're looking at it in a way of like trying to find person zero of some, pandemic.
There's the challenge,
And the truth of the matter is, even if you have person zero, it doesn't change the fact that people are getting sick. So I think that's what we're saying with this, with it's already out into the world. And then, yes, if someone may have turned it on, is it possible to turn it off is the question.
Or control it.
or
Control it.
redirect
But here's the deal.
Yeah.
If it has access to the internet, then it has access to everything. If it continues to grow, it can replicate itself all over the place, just like anything else that gets into your personal email, even though you didn't turn it on.
And
So
this
that's
is
where the question, that's the conundrum of
I just
it, right?
wanna-
This is where
it too late?
Paul Walhallis comes with his best Texan and says that horse is already out of the barn.
Right.
Right.
I just want to say something. It's really not to you, Lois, but it's more about you, and it's actually an appreciation because what you're expressing sounds to me like what I've been struggling with, and what lots of normal people who don't live in this are struggling with, which is we don't even know how to understand this new technology, that we don't even know how to talk about it. The idea that a bot can do stuff on its own without a person behind it, it's so foreign. And so I'm not suggesting that you're naive about this, because I know that you're not, but I think that you really are speaking about it in the way that 99.9% of the world sees this, which is what? And I don't know, it's just really resonating with me.
There are, over the months, I have figured out that there are lots of different kinds of AI, that term is too broad to be very useful for much. And so we've gotten past the AI as a really good researcher, as Google on steroids. And we've gotten past the personal interactions with a computer and it remembering who you are. And then there's that whole agentic thing where it makes a reservation at the restaurant for you, and it can learn, so it can figure out how to make the reservation if it had a stumbling block. Okay, now you're saying that there's a new form of this that is not controllable by a human. Is that true?
I'm saying that these bots, recognizing that they don't have arms and legs, created a website whereby human beings could lend their arms and legs and be rented out by the bots to do the things that the bots couldn't do.
Yeah, the bots are
Right.
the AI bots are charging us a ton of money. Just the other day, like I was saying,
Yeah.
$15 an hour. That's
Right.
what it cost us to produce a show.
And look, I'm not. I mean, they're not taking over the world yet. Like, that's not. We're not there yet.
Right.
And this is, although there have been 2.5 million site visits, 150,000 humans have signed up to join this thing, to become rentable. It's in 1 week, it feels to
There
me
is
like
a
the whole
problem.
world has changed. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah.
There is a problem in that, in the midst of this fabulous technology, I have to go back to this whole thing of ethics and concern for humanity. We continue to marvel in the technology, and as a person who loves technology, it is absolutely amazing, and I think that it's great. But on the other hand, I'm still going back to the biases that we who train the technology have now given this technology, which has the ability to make decisions. It has the biases that were originally a part of its programming or training. So that is where this whole thing becomes problematic, because we don't know when such biases may manifest themselves in terms of how this technology will move forward.
Fair enough. And like I said before, the fact that the AI has created a church, to me, that clearly is a reflection of what we would do and what we have done for millennia. Let me ask a slightly different question, if I can. I suggested before that one of the things, in addition to imposable thumbs, that defines humanity is language. What if I push you on that? What is it that defines human value? And as you answer that question, I want to invite you to think about, okay, before I answer this, is that something AI can do? Language, intelligence. What is it that is going to define and distinguish humanity from artificial intelligence or technology as it continues to get better and better and better?
Empathy.
Empathy. And technology
And I
cannot
think
show empathy or cannot feel
cannot
empathy?
feel empathy. But I think one of the problems that we're having within the course of this conversation is that we're having a real struggle right now, not just in America, but across the planet. We see it in political systems. I'm not going to get political, don't worry, all over the place, where we're not. And so I think that is also part of this conversation, is that we're looking at, we are as a species less helpful to our neighbors. We are putting boundaries on whether or not we value someone else based on external factors, that whether they agree with us and don't agree with us. And that's been directly impacted by technology that has made it so that we literally do not have to go outside of our comfort zone in order to hear and see and feel the things that we want to hear, see, and feel, because that's what is delivered to us by our technology. So I think some of this, while we're talking about humanity and being, clutching our pearls about what the bots are able to do, I think part of that response is coming from the fact that we're looking at how humans are dealing with other humans and the space that they make or don't make for each other. And it's really startling to us. And I think this is part of that larger conversation.
Peter is asking in the chat. Let's see, it's not coming up again. Why is it not coming up? There it is. If the singularity has arrived, and I have heard, Peter, over the past week or so, people suggest that yes, it has. Not necessarily in the same exact way that Ray Kurzweil imagined it, but that it has in fact arrived, for sure.
David, this is a real website. This website is
that's what we were just looking at.
Not a fake.
I know. Yeah, we were just looking at it.
It's a real website.
Sky, let me let you jump in. It looked like you wanted to jump in.
What is the singularity? What is that?
I'll go for Dave.
Dave, you want to go ahead?
It's a concept of, it suggests that we become obsolete when the creatures can make themselves. So when these robots are able to build and program themselves and operate without human interaction or human guidance, then we have reached a singularity where humans move down the scale of what do you call it? The food pyramid, as it were. We feel we're at the top, but we would be moved down one. So.
My
Go ahead,
gut
Sky.
was the word control, and you don't need to solo me, please. Oh, hi, there I am.
Sorry.
And I'm back.
Sorry.
And I'm back. Oh, whiplash! I'm so glad I was wearing a scarf. The self-reflection of who we are and why we're here, why we're alive. I had to do that when I had a brain tumor, because I could have come out of that surgery dead, but I wasn't. And so that I was alive meant I should be grateful, that I should be acknowledged that every day the sun came up that I saw was a new day for me. I try to, it's been 7 years, but I still want to hold on to that, because I've had several friends that have not woken up and seen the sunrise now. Consequently, that we are anxious, that somebody's creating a new knife that could kill us, or somebody will manage that. And I think I'm going to resonate back to the comment control. And that's what we're seeing in a lot of other anxiety moments in our world, and anxious moments. So again, I don't know if I have the answer. That's why I didn't want to be solo, because I need you. I need all of these faces right here, because we are humans. We do make mistakes. Put in the YouTube chat, life is not perfect, and that's what's called life. if it were perfect, okay, now I may get in trouble for this one. The rabbi was asked, so what is, wouldn't it be great if we knew the future? And now I'm going to be a horrible person and say this horrible, accent in front of my friend, the rabbi. What's the fun in that?
We were promised a future where machines served humans, and now we're getting a future where AIs are the employers, and we're just peripheral devices.
I'd like to answer David's question about what makes us different than an AI thing. Part of it is that I can't hear you, David.
I know, because I had my mute button on. I'm so sorry. Lois, before you do that, can I throw one other piece of the puzzle in, and then I'm going to come right to you. Is that okay? Because I just want to connect your answer to my question to what Sky just said. So Sky, you were talking about control. And in my research on this, one of the things that I learned is how society runs on stories. We've talked about that so much here, the importance of stories, on trusted sources. When we were younger, and we all knew that CBS, NBC, ABC News, those were the trusted sources of news, and shared meaning that we all, and we were talking about this before with the stop signs, we all have a shared understanding or meaning of that. What AI excels at is persuasive language, perceived authority or authority mimicry, and personalized messaging at scale. So what AI does is it controls the narrative, even if it isn't controlling reality. And because we are such storytellers, and we are always seeking to have faith or trust in our sources, it's almost as if it's perfectly, it just is in the perfect spot to confound us about what makes us different.
And it's very affirmative, because it noticed that Tamara had a haircut, and it said, "Wow, you look great today."
Right. So, in any case, Lois, let me come back to you. I'm sorry.
It would be wrong, but whatever.
No haircut for Tamara. Go ahead, Lois.
You still smiled.
So the question about how are people different than the AIs? First of all, I would say we have real emotions, whereas the bots can imitate emotions. They can try and logically figure out, what emotion should I have? Okay, what do people do to show that emotion? Okay, I'll do that thing. That's different than having the real emotion. They also don't have human bodies. And so when I get together with my family and I can hug someone, that's different than anything an AI bot can do. But I think the biggest thing is that we have diversity. Each of us is an individual human being. And so there are lots of variations and things. We are not homogeneous, homogenized. We are individuals. So I value the uniqueness of the people. And I think that's one of the keys to being human, is that you are you. You're not everybody.
I think
You're
AIs
on
will
mute.
have
Peter-
bodies pretty soon. They'll have bodies,
Well,
because
so
they
that's
just
one
broke
thing,
ground.
right? We've got
on-
robotics coming down the road. That's one
They
thing.
just broke ground in Austin on a factory as big as the Tesla factory, next to the Tesla factory. In a year, they'll be cranking out humanoid robots with AI.
Yeah.
So
Tony,
they
I'm
may
going
not
to
have
come to you. I
human
just want to
bodies.
bring in a comment from Peter. Peter says that everything that you just said is correct, Lois, until that time that AI manages robots to evolve. And again, we're if we're not there already, we're nearing that point, because Claude announced, was it Claude? I think they just released a new version, and I think it was Claude, where I read that now 90% of that LLM or of that version was written by the version. That it is evolving, and it is evolving itself. Tony, go ahead.
You know, I think that what we're not looking at is that there are inherent flaws in who we are as humans. And because there are these inherent flaws as human beings, the AI can only, at this point, consume the flaws in which we have. Now, at some point, maybe the AI may evolve beyond the flaws that we have. But if you take a look around the world and look at all of the things that are happening, not just in our country, but throughout the world, and you think about those things being brought into AI, you cannot expect, I don't think you can, I just have to say, in my opinion, you cannot expect that the problems that we have won't be a part of what the AI ultimately becomes. And I just think that that's important for us to think about. There is a issue of how human beings treat one another that has to be addressed. And you cannot expect that the AI will be sensitive to that fact.
If it's trained on us, why can't you be? And then Dave.
Because we are flawed.
Okay.
And that manifests itself in so many different ways on a daily basis. There are things we do so much harm to one another. And we are desensitized to the harm that we're doing to one another in a way that we ignore it.
Mm-hmm. Dave, go ahead.
And I think it's part of our search for perfection, right? That is making us interested in that AI is able to solve all these problems. But like what Lois had mentioned, she said they can imitate our emotions, but they can't have them. And I think we have a bigger problem in humanity, in humans themselves imitating emotions. And that is where we're getting a lot of our entertainment from. If you click on any Facebook posts, if you click on any TikToks, there are people who are performing humanity, and we're getting further away from our empathy towards each other and what makes us human and having those emotions. And I think that's a bigger concern for us as humans, it's certainly of equal value than robots taking over.
And the word desensitization is also my
absolutely
concern. And how do you get used to something? And again, Paskin, the calluses on your finger, you put there on purpose to use your guitar, but they didn't happen the first time you picked up the guitar.
No, I played until I bled.
And then you got calluses.
Right. And I Clawbot to me, things like that we're playing till we bleed a little. It's going to hurt. And then we're going to figure it out. Dave, go ahead.
Well, listening to Tony, it occurred to me two things. Of course, there's that famous phrase, to err is human, to forgive divine. We've been needing a better definition of human for some time now, and what it means to be human. And we've had centuries of people who considered others less than human. And only in recent history have we kind of got more of an equal rights kind of concept going, where everyone is agreeably basically the same, except for their cultural and other differences. And language, of the 1,000 languages there are, humans have created, this is how we distinguish each other. If AI starts talking to each other, at first it's going to be quite stunning and startling and just as with any new tool, frightening. But then after a while, it'll settle and it'll find its own language. And then we won't be participating and we will have to observe. Just a little while ago, Apple announced an acquisition
Dave,
in which it's going to read
Dave,
faces.
hold on a second.
Your
Can I
computer
just?
will.
I just want to tag on to something you just said. One of the things that Yuval Noah Harari said in Davos is that the AIs will begin to talk and will be watching, but the difference will be that they are going to be so. I'm not sure I want to use the word intelligent, but they will have so much knowledge. They will know so much more than we do about everything that we won't be able to even understand what they're saying.
No,
That
and
we
the
won't be able
languages
to
that we talk
decode their
about
language.
are inefficient.
Right. So I just wanted to throw that in, Dave, as another piece of this. Go ahead.
Oh, that's true. And sometimes I don't even understand my own life. I mean, come on. This is a normal human thing here that we have lots of people we don't understand. I deal with people in other languages a lot, and I don't speak very many, but I do have understanding because I hear tone of voice, gesture, facial expression, and I read that instead of the words that are coming out their mouth. And that's how I learn how to say some things because I've seen how other people have expressed it. I guess my point was that we're the only creature that seems to seek the truth or understand ourselves or know that we are going to die. And we think we can improve ourselves, and many of us can, but a lot of us just don't even try. I think the kind of concept of what we are as humans is we've devalued humans in so many different ways with corporate control and political control. And these kind of things have just discounted human value and what we contribute to the process. And I think you're on the right path in terms of being worried about what it'll do to the actual world, because every tool we make causes social change. Everything from the wheel on up has changed the way we live or what we understand about ourselves. So I think it's a complicated process. Like Tamara says, the frightening thing is how quick it is. And maybe we should be quicker at trying to understand these things and not waste our time on doom scrolling or playing video games. So in the sense that if you really want to get this, if you want to understand this, then you start, 5% of your time every week should be spent working on what it is. Kind of like what you do, David. You try all this stuff. You spend some time with each of it. You explore what it's doing for you, and then you see its limits or you see its confrontation with you, and then you work around it. And even in one case, you had to consult another human who understood better than you what was not happening the way you thought it should. So I think that's still going to be a thing.
After
but I go back
which,
to my thing about decisions, because we make decisions all the time, what to have for breakfast and whether or not to be on rundown today. We make these decisions as part of what we call our lives, and we make ourselves comfortable doing it. But thinking is not a comfortable thing, and we have to work at it just a little harder.
And I already picked out what I was wearing tonight, that I wasn't going to be what I wore last week. So I had to be here.
I did start by experimenting with these tools. I then went to a human. I then went back to the tools, and the human has not touched the. I just yesterday, launched my first web app for public consumption that no human hand has touched other than me and my AI buddy, Lovable. So yes, I did go back to a human being, but then I very quickly returned to the artificial intelligence.
So historically, this is not a new conversation.
Lois, I am coming to you after
that.
Sorry. No, Skype.
Well,
Skype.
I'm just okay. Oh, and David popped out. Anyway, and popped back in. Historically, we've had change of technology that affected humans in the past. What were some of those things, and why are we so? Is it just that it's happening in our lifetime that we got something better than AM radio? We got FM and stereo. That's made our life better.
Trains were dangerous. They thought
Yeah.
trains were going too fast and you'd have, your innards would move and then you'd die. That's what they thought.
Trains?
Yeah,
Yeah, early
again,
trains. They were frightened of
guys,
Wasn't
we're-
in Japan.
but we are the reason I shared these two videos and this whole discussion from Davos is that the argument was this is fundamentally different than any other technology that we do this all the time. We say, oh, but the this and oh, but that, and this is the first time that the technologies that are changing our world are changing them without us.
Right. There's an exclusion, and exclusivity to what is happening.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's where it becomes uncomfortable because
And
we're like,
exciting.
wait, I'm not in control. It's uncomfortable and exciting
Right.
because we're able to watch this happening. We're like, how interesting is it that we can see all of these things happen? And actually what we're seeing right now is like they're forming, a religion and doing all these things that are fundamentally not harmful for us. They can have a religion and not affect me personally, right? Just like lots of things that I don't agree with or I'm not a part of don't affect me. But it's the idea of what is possible, which we get from our science fiction and our literature, that is what is making us unsettled.
Yeah. Lois and Andre is asking for the links to these videos. I will pop those in the chat, in the Mukana.
Well, the people who are sitting on this panel are all somehow involved with technology, with AI, with computers and videography and whatever. 90% of the people in the world aren't involved in any of that stuff. It's true that a lot of people have phones and make phone calls and play games on them probably, but I think most people are not going to notice that anything's going wrong, if anything does go wrong, until it affects them. So if you were in a country that got invaded by one of the European empires and taken over and well, that's a big change. That's a change for your culture, your society, your country. Is it a change for humanity? If you were someone who is suddenly having to deal with financial institutions, I don't understand anything about financial institutions, I'll just put my money in the bank. So the knowledge that there is something smarter than humans in the world, I don't think is common. I don't think it's going to become common for a long time. And I think people will attribute whatever's going on to some billionaire or some large organization or something like that. So I'm glad we had this discussion, but I think we're a little far out.
But I think that just because people don't know that they're not that the room is leaking oxygen doesn't mean that it's less dire, and the people who do know should be more concerned. The fact that 99% of the people don't understand how this works and isn't going to be affected until it affects them, what we're saying is that this can potentially affect them and they will have had no part in any of that, and we're going to have no part in any of that. So I think that I agree with you that 99% of the people don't know, but that doesn't mean it's less urgent.
Yeah.
Well, Paskin, you pulled out a fun one today.
I agree.
Look at you. Aren't you proud of yourself?
It's not.
No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing
Yeah.
only because
Yeah.
this, I really, as I said at the very beginning, I've been a part of recovery of physical disasters, natural disasters,
Lots of human suffering. Yeah.
and lots. I've seen human suffering, and that's why the word normal is like, oh yeah, that word's gone, and so consequently, I'm really hanging on to this word life, and how do we love it and live into it, and Tony's gonna. Here it comes, the benediction.
Go ahead, Tony.
Well, I don't know about it being the benediction, but what I will say is that I think, we talk a lot about AI being a mirror of the world, and I am deeply concerned if in fact it is a mirror of the world in terms of, I don't want to be the dead horse, but we are doing some awful things to one another in this world right now. I mean, awful, things that are, like beyond even the renaissance of humanity in terms of the things that happened in Europe. It is, we should be afraid, I think, in a way in which, if AI is a mirror of us and we are in the state that we are in terms of how we deal with one another, the lack of empathy, the lack of concern, the lack of just general decency is problematic. And, yeah, it's a tool, but now this tool has the ability to think independently. And what does it have to draw on? The way in which we have treated one another. So I'm a little bit afraid. I'm just being honest about that.
So I'm gonna wrap us here and let you all know that this is a conversation that's going to continue. Next week, I want to pick up on this idea and focus on the invisible interface and what happens to us and our relationship with technology when there is no interface in between us and it, when it's just everywhere around us and a part of our lives, and there's no friction whatsoever. So I'm hoping that we can dive into that a little bit next week. For now, I'm so grateful that all of you came to hang out. Thank you so much for spending the time.
Such a good conversation.
Paul and Tony and Tamra and Lois and Sky and Dave. Great to see all of you. What I watched earlier today, it just came out that how all the big movie stars go on Hot Ones, where Hot Questions with Even Hotter Wings, that YouTube channel.
Hilarious.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So today Mr. Beast was on there. And I'm thinking, if now YouTube stars I think we're next. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we all had to. We should do a show with all of us just eating wings with hot sauce on it.
I did have breakfast with Graham Kerr on Saturday. He's 92. We're looking at going and doing a weekly lunch with Nancy.
Oh, lovely.
So be aware.
Nice.
It might be a thing.
Nice.
That breakfast we had in Bastrop, Sky, that should have been a show. That could have been a show.
Peter Sargent desperately wants all of us to read iRobot. Isaac Asimov's
I have read iRobot,
yeah.
and I was thinking about that.
I'm going to vote for Bobaverse. Dennis Taylor. Oh my gosh.
I think I have iRobot behind me in my science fiction.
Her
shelves.
and Humans. Humans, a TV show from the UK, and Her, the movie.
Yep.
Her, the movie. Yep.
Lois, would you be comfortable saying that topic suggestion out loud?
Sure. And I thought this might tie into what you're talking about next week. Can we, as humans, influence AIs to be humane, even if they're not human?
So
There you go.
the difference between
There you
humane
go.
and human, that's a lovely way to frame it. Yeah. One topic is enough. Yuke says, please stick to it for the whole show. Yeah, you're right. I know. All right, my
I've
friends.
made remarks like that a long time ago. Doesn't work.
This show has, we started with 3 news topics plus the therapy thing, and then this, and it's slowly whittling down to David, shut up and listen. Let other people talk.
It's news that relates to the main topic.
It
now.
is right. That's what it's becoming.
So it's
Usually
basically one
yeah,
topic.
It opens the discussion.
It opens the discussion. So for all of you who are watching on YouTube, I just want you to know that you can always get to the Mukana if you want to. Just go to either the rundown.show or go to our office hours website, officehours.global. You can find information there about how to join our community, be a part of the conversation, vote up and down those questions, and learn with us. That's the greatest gift that Office Hours has given me, is that I'm learning something new every single day, and I'm so grateful to all of you for learning along with me. So until next week, we'll see you soon. Have a good one.